Wife passed away unexpectedly, and that's how I discovered she was cheating. My name is Jonathan, and I am 39 years old. I have been with my wife, Emily, for 16 years. 16 absolutely magical years. We met right after college, both first-year teachers at Riverdale High School. I was in the math department, and she was in the English department. Total cliches, I know. A bunch of us, early career, teachers used to go out almost every Friday night. Those were good times I wouldn't mind reliving. Both M, that's what I call her. And I made great friends with some of our co-workers, including a best friend for each of us. Michael was the best man in our wedding, and Sarah was her maid of honor. We rigged it so that she would get the bouquet and him the garter at our wedding reception, but they never did date. It was natural between us from the start. There was some serious chemistry. She was so attractive. I was smitten from the word go. She told me she was too, but I didn't know it. I've always been a bit oblivious. It took the entire first semester for me to finally get it together and ask her out. Her response? You had one more week, then I was asking you out in front of everyone. Almost 2 years to the day after that, we got married on a beach in Puerto Rico. It was a small wedding, just family and our best friends. We came back and had an amazing party with all of our teacher friends. Life seemed to move fast from there. Em was pregnant just after our 1-year anniversary. Then we had another 2 years later, and another 2 years after that, and then for good measure, one more 2 years after that. We were pretty good at this planning thing. Our kids have turned out great, each so different yet the same. It's weird saying that, but it's true. Sophie is our oldest at 13. Our only boy Ethan is 11. Grace turns 9 in 2 days, and Lily is 7. They just all seem to excel at everything they do. Sophie and Ethan are so athletic. Grace is creative, and Lily is just the funniest, sweetest little girl on the planet. Our family vacations, mostly camping trips, won't be the same anymore. Our 16 years together have been the best time of my life. She was always so involved and extroverted. I became more of a homebody over time. She coached the cheer team forever. I still went out some with her, but she kept busy with school events, coaching, and the kids' activities. I swear I married Superwoman. Though despite our differences, we never let that spark die. We had date nights, an active bedroom, and never went to bed or woke up without kisses. My favorite thing was holding her hand. I can't believe this is all over. That we will never be the Daniels family party of 6 again. That's kind of why I am writing all this. I wanted to have a good moment, recall a few past memories. Try to remember that I was happy. 2 days ago, Emily died. A brain aneurysm. She was just on the treadmill at the gym when suddenly, she went down. That was it. She was gone, taken from us in a flash. The kids are being stronger than they ever should have to be. Kids are so resilient. I'm doing my best to keep it together in front of them. Our parents are helping, but they're grieving too. Everyone loved Emily. Michael and Sarah have been over a lot, checking on us. I just cannot believe this has happened. How do I go on? I know I have to for my children. I just can't picture my life without her. I do not exaggerate when I say this is the worst pain imaginable. Hopefully, it lessens with time. I'm crying myself to sleep each night because I try to keep the breakdowns and sadness to a minimum, so as to not trigger my children. They really need me now, and I have to be the strong one and support them. I just need to get through the funeral. Then we can start rebuilding our life. Anyway, that's it. No need for advice. I just needed to pour this out. Get it off my chest. Tell someone how I'm feeling, even if it's just strangers on the other side of the internet. Emily's funeral was yesterday, and I didn't attend. My family has been bombarding me with calls ever since. 2 days before the funeral, I was going through her belongings, trying to find mementos and getting into her phone to save pictures. I wanted to hold on to as much of her as I could for the kids and myself. That's when I found something I didn't expect, something that has shattered me completely. In her purse, there was a second cell phone. It was passcode protected, but after 16 years together, I knew I could figure it out. When I did, I found something that made my stomach drop. Emily had been cheating on me. Not just recently. This had been going on since our first date. The most devastating part of it all? She and Michael, my so-called best friend, had been having an affair for years. I don't even know how long it's been happening. The phone's messages went back 3.5 years, but much of their communication was through Telegram, with some chats dating as far back as 2016. I spent hours screenshotting, saving, and downloading messages, pictures, videos, everything. It was overwhelming. I can't believe what I saw. It wasn't just Michael. There were 2 other men she had active conversations with and archived chats with 7 more. And who knows how many conversations she had deleted over the years. The betrayal felt endless. After discovering this, I was numb. I couldn't handle the thought of attending her funeral, standing there listening to people talk about what a wonderful woman she was. She wasn't. She was a liar and a cheater. I couldn't stomach the hypocrisy. I packed up the kids and took them to my parents' house, telling them I needed some time alone to process everything. They understood and were okay with it. That night, I stayed up almost until dawn, reading through the messages. The more I read, the angrier and more hurt I felt. It was as if my entire life with her had been a lie. When the day of the funeral arrived, I couldn't bring myself to get ready. My family started calling me when I didn't show up. I finally texted my dad back, saying, "I'm fine. I'm not going to hurt myself, so you don't have to worry. But I'm not coming today." The funeral came and went without me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't stand there and pretend she was the amazing woman everyone believed she was. She wasn't. Afterward, the calls kept coming. My dad even stopped by the house, but I locked the door and stayed quiet. He knocked for a while, but eventually left when I didn't answer. A few hours later, I got a text from Michael. "Hey bud, I didn't see you at the funeral. Just checking on you. We can grab a beer and just chill if you need to let off some steam." I snapped. I finally replied to one message. "How about you go fuck yourself? You traitorous piece of shit. Don't ever contact me again." He didn't respond. I assume he knows the truth now, that I've uncovered everything. I don't know how I'm going to overcome this. You think you know someone. You think they love you. You think you've built a life together. And then you find out it was all bullshit. And the worst part? You can't even confront them. You can't take your anger out on them because they're gone. I decided to go full nuclear. Screw her. Screw her reputation. Screw Michael. Screw Sarah. Screw all of them. Every single one of them treated me like a joke. 16 years of lies, deceit, and betrayal. I was done protecting anyone. When I first posted about this, I had only gone through the Telegram messages. That second phone, though, it had email accounts dating back to before Emily and I were even dating. It had texts between her and Sarah. It had Reddit accounts I didn't even know existed. Turns out, Sarah has been helping Emily cheat since day one. I still can't get over one specific memory. Emily told me she was going out to lunch with Sarah, but Sarah showed up at the house to drop something off. And you know what? That sneaky sold the lie so perfectly. She acted like she forgot about their lunch date, played it off, and said she needed to hustle over to the cafe. I bought it. I bought all of it. How could I be so naive? From what I've pieced together, Emily and Michael started sleeping together days before I even asked her out, and it never stopped. 16 years of infidelity, right under my nose. In that time, Michael has dated other people, gotten married, and even divorced. We hung out constantly. We were each other's best man at our weddings. Meanwhile, Emily was with at least a dozen other men, probably more. Every single teaching conference she attended was another opportunity. She either hooked up with someone there or brought someone with her. The videos I found? Absolutely disgusting. There's one where some random guy is finishing on her engagement ring while she's wearing it. And the timestamp? 3 days after I proposed. Let that sink in. The most gut-wrenching part of all of this is the messages between her and Michael. They imply that Michael might be Rachel's father. My Rachel. My firstborn. I wasn't going to go through with DNA tests. I didn't want to. But the thought wouldn't leave me alone. I had to know. So, last week, I took my kids for testing. I'm still waiting for the results, and I have no idea what I'll do if they prove she wasn't mine. If my kids are just side effects of her infidelity, I can't even begin to process that. The kids aren't happy with me right now. Neither is my family. They think I went too far. What good does it do now? They asked. What good? Screw that. People should know who she really was. I wasn't going to sit there and let people pretend she was some saint. She wasn't. She was a manipulative liar and a cheat. So I posted everything. All of it. Hundreds of texts, messages, pictures, censored, voice recordings, everything. I compiled it all into one big file and uploaded it to every social media platform I could. I posted it on Emily's accounts too. I tagged everyone. Michael, Sarah, other co-workers who had been involved with her. None of them were spared. I even tagged the school's official page. Let them deal with the fallout. Now, the school has put me on administrative leave, and it sounds like an investigation is underway. Apparently, some of this happened on school property. It looks like firings are coming. Good. I don't care what happens to that place. I'm not staying in Riverdale. I've already made up my mind. Once I get those DNA results, I'm out. At least I got the life insurance money. Nobody gets it. Nobody. After Emily died, I discovered something that shattered me to my core. She wasn't just unfaithful once or twice. She wasn't cheating because of some imaginary problems in our marriage. There were no problems. She was cheating because she could. She was a cake eater. She roped me in, made me fall for her, and turned me into the safe, reliable guy she could come home to every day. I was the perfect dad and the supportive husband who treated her like a queen. And for that, I got the privilege of finding out she spent 16 years screwing other men whenever the opportunity arose. I got to see the worst of it. The crazy, wild stuff she gave to other men. The kind of things she refused to do with me. She always said she preferred lovemaking because it felt more intimate and close. It was all a lie. Every bit of it. I will never understand how someone could do what she did. Emily was the most deceitful, manipulative person I've ever met. I feel no remorse for exposing her for what she really was. My only regret is that she's not alive to face the fallout. If she hadn't died, I probably would still be in the dark, living the lie she built for me. That's what hurts the most. I'll never get to confront her. I'll never get to see her squirm under the weight of her lies. Yes, I've blown up a lot of lives in the process, including Michael's, my ex-best friend, but it still feels incomplete. Emily's selfishness ruined so many lives. 3 people have been fired from the school. At least 2 friends of mine are in the middle of divorce proceedings. I don't even know how many other marriages or families she's impacted. She was the ultimate selfish and everyone deserves to know the truth. What she did to me, to Hannah, and to her other kids is by far the worst of it. The DNA results came back shortly after my last post, and they confirmed my worst fears. Only Hannah is my biological child. Rachel and Grace share the same father, Michael, the man I thought was my closest friend. Turns out, he knew all along. It explains why he always seemed more attentive and supportive of Rachel and Grace than Wyatt or Hannah. As for Wyatt, the DNA test revealed that he's the son of an assistant principal who worked at our school for 2 years before moving to another district. I made sure to post all the messages between Emily and him, along with the DNA results, on his Facebook page. I also tagged his wife. That, of course, has everyone up in arms. But I don't care. Rachel, Wyatt, and Grace aren't my children. They're nothing more than painful reminders of Emily's lies and betrayals. My parents have decided to take them in, which is fine. I've gone no contact with my family because of it. I only deal with them when it comes to legal matters. As for Emily's side of the family, I cut them off the first time they suggested forgiveness. Forgiveness? Never. Right now, I'm in the legal process of disowning Emily's 3 children. My parents accepted guardianship of them, but I've been paying child support. However, since I have undeniable proof of who their biological fathers are, I've filed to have my child support terminated. My lawyer is confident we'll win. I'm also looking into suing Michael and the assistant principal to recover some of the financial burden I've carried for the past 14 years. Since moving to Santa Fe, New Mexico, Hannah and I are trying to rebuild our lives. I've changed careers and now work as a loan officer. It pays much better than teaching, but the child support still drains a significant portion of my income. I live in a small 1-bedroom apartment, and I'm fighting to resolve the legal issues quickly so I can start fresh. Hannah has taken the move hard. She's only 8 years old, and she doesn't fully understand why we left or why she can't see Rachel, Wyatt, or Grace. To her, they're her siblings. I've been trying to explain to her that they're not, that they never were. They were just the byproducts of her mother's deception. It's a difficult adjustment, and I'd like to get her into therapy, but I can't afford it until the legal matters are resolved. I'm only 40 years old. I still have time. Time to find someone new, time to build a future, time to have more children of my own. It's going to take time, but I'm not giving up. I still believe there are good times ahead for me and for Hannah. My name is Jonathan, and for now I'm 60 years old. For the last 19 years, I've been with my incredible partner, Sophia. Technically, we're not married. I refuse to ever get married again, but we consider each other husband and wife. Together, we have two amazing sons, Caleb, who's 18, and Ryan, who's 15. For the most part, the last 20 years have been some of the happiest of my life. Sophia and I have a loving and committed relationship. She came into my life when I was at rock bottom. My first wife, Emily, had died suddenly, and in the aftermath, I learned about her secret life. She had been a pathological cheater, betraying me with people I trusted. 3 of her children were fathered by other men, yet she led me to believe they were mine. Only our youngest child, Lily, turned out to be my biological daughter. Lily lived with me until she went to college at 18. Her teenage years were tough, as one would expect after the chaos Emily caused, but she rebounded. Over time, we built a solid relationship, although much of our early friction stemmed from her attachment to her half-siblings and grandparents. It took years to help her understand why I distanced myself from them. Thankfully, the last 10 to 12 years have been good, and the past rarely comes up anymore. Meeting Sophia turned everything around for me. Around the same time, I won key legal battles that allowed me to truly move on. Together, these 2 events became the catalyst for my fresh start. In the years since, our family has thrived. We've traveled to every continent except Antarctica, experiencing the world together. I've cherished the bond one share with Caleb and Ryan, a connection that began before they were even born. Knowing my trauma, Sophia had them both paternity tested in utero to ease my mind. There was never any doubt. They are mine. Lily has been a wonderful big sister to them, and I've been grateful for the stability and joy our family has found. But now, I'm facing the most difficult situation I've had in years. Lily and I have come a long way since those turbulent times. After graduating high school, she attended New Mexico State University in Las Cruces, where she excelled and earned her degree in 4 years. She found a great job in Las Cruces and decided to stay there. Even after moving, she made a point to visit during breaks and holidays. These days, I see her about 4 times a year. She comes home for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Memorial Day weekend, and I visit her once a year. Our relationship is strong, and I thought we'd overcome all the chaos Emily left behind. But recently, I found out that Lily reconnected with her half-siblings, Rachel, Ethan, and Grace, about 4 years ago. She kept it from me, knowing how much pain it would cause. She also reconnected with my father, the only grandparent she has left. He's 83 and, from what I hear, still doing well. While I dislike it, I could have let this slide under a don't ask, don't tell policy. But what's happening now is crossing a line. 2.5 years ago, Lily met her fiancé, Marcus. They don't work together, but their workplaces are next door to each other. Marcus is a great guy, kind, respectful, and truly good to Lily. They're planning a big wedding in 1 month. His family, which is well off, is footing most of the bill. As her father, I've been asked to walk her down the aisle, give a speech, and share a father-daughter dance. But then Lily told me she invited Rachel, Ethan, Grace, and my father to the wedding. I am 100% against this and made my feelings very clear. I don't want any contact with these people. My father chose Emily's children over me during the worst time of my life. As for Rachel, Ethan, and Grace, I hold no personal ill will toward them. It was Emily's doing. But seeing them would reopen wounds I've spent decades trying to heal. What's troubling me even more is that my sons think I should just let it go for Lily's sake. They believe I should be there for her on this one day. Sophia, on the other hand, supports me. She says I don't have to attend if it's too much for me, and has assured me she won't go either if I choose to stay home. This has dredged up all the emotions I've tried to bury. I hate the idea of missing Lily's wedding, but I can't, in good conscience, face people tied to the darkest period of my life. I need to figure out how to help Lily understand why this is so painful for me. How do I get her to see my perspective without damaging our relationship? Even after being dead for 20 years, that despicable woman still finds ways to ruin my life. About 2 weeks ago, my daughter Lily had her wedding. In the weeks leading up to it, I made it abundantly clear that I wasn't comfortable with her half-siblings or my father attending. It all culminated in a heated argument between Lily and me just 10 days before the wedding. She called me selfish and weak. I pushed back, and she unleashed everything she'd been holding back for years. She told me how awful I was for cutting her off from her entire life, that she was just 8 years old, grieving her mother, when her father suddenly launched a crusade to destroy every positive memory anyone had of her. She said she justified my actions, tried to see things from my perspective, but deep down, she always resented me for taking her away from her family, her home, everything. I couldn't believe it. After everything I had done to make her understand, her mother was a vile, despicable person. Anyone who chose to side with her was just as repugnant. The only reason I held on to Lily was because she was half me, but apparently that wasn't enough. Now she was choosing them over me too. I told her I wouldn't be attending her wedding. That was the end of the conversation. She hung up on me, and we haven't spoken since. As painful as that betrayal was, the greater one came from my own sons. Caleb and Ryan still went to the wedding. My wife Sophia and I stayed home, but they said they were going to support their sister. Worse, they took my place. Caleb walked Lily down the aisle. Ryan gave a speech. I know this because Caleb sent me the wedding video diary yesterday. I wasn't going to watch it, but my curiosity got the best of me. He only sent it to me to twist the knife. After their betrayal, I told them they were cut off. I told Caleb to pack his things and leave. As for Ryan, I couldn't kick him out yet, but I made it clear that he was dead to me. He has 2.5 years to prepare because the day he turns 18, he's out. That's when Sophia, who had been supportive up until then, finally stepped in. She told me I wasn't kicking them out. Instead, she said, I would be the one leaving before her sons ever would. We had a massive argument, and I stormed out. For the past 10 days, I've been staying in one of the rental units I own. Today, I got a buyout offer on our home. Sophia is leaving me. She said she has spent the last 20 years trying to understand my pain. She said she thought I was a good man who had endured something terrible, but now she knows she was wrong. Yes, what happened to me was horrific, but she says I'm not a good man. Seeing how easily I throw people away has forever changed her view of me. Well, screw her. None of them understand. None of them ever will. That woman didn't just cheat. She humiliated me. She betrayed me with my friends, my co-workers, and even made me raise children that weren't mine. There's nothing worse than what she did to me. Everything about her was vile. Everything that came from her, everyone she touched, was tainted. I'll take the buyout. I'll sell my 2 rental properties. I'll start over again. I've been able to retire for a few years now, and that's exactly what I'll do. I'll leave this place and all the traitors in it behind. I'll move somewhere far away where I can finally be free of all of them. I can't believe she's still doing this to me. She's dead. I destroyed her name. I cut off everyone who defended her. I dumped her ashes. I moved far away from the life we built. And yet, here I am, alone, abandoned, with everyone turning their backs on me. Emily, you sick, twisted woman. I guess you got the last laugh after all.